Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video we're going to do a lot of work to this YZ426 frame here. As you can see, it's just a frame, although we got the triple clamp on it up here so far and a couple of the rubber pieces on. But in this video I think we're going to throw the forks on. I'll show you how I put this triple clamp on and got it finished a little bit, and then probably throw the engine in and get it mounted up, maybe even get the swing arm on. So we got a lot planned. So let's get started. I'll show you guys what I did to these triple clamps real quick, and then we can move on. As you can see, some of the parts of the upper are pretty beat up, need some polishing out, and the lower still has that nasty casting line all the way around it and that nasty old bearing. So we're going to do some work to these today. Not too much to this upper one because it's billet. The stock ones didn't come with these fat bar mounts, so I'll just probably polish up the mounts a little bit, maybe do a little bit of work degreasing to the upper itself. But yeah, so to cut off this bearing here, we got to first start off by cutting off the cage, and then we can press off the race with the press. So we got to cut this off first. So now that we got the cage cut off, we can bend it off. Some of the needle bearings will pop off, but that's okay. And now we have a couple needle bearings and the race itself. And when we press this race off, we're gonna hook into this little edge right here, and that'll enable us to pull it off. Alright guys, we got the triple clamp here. I got it all vapor blasted up, and we're ready to press in this lower bearing. So we've got the seal here onto the shaft and the bearing here. It's already packed so you can see the grease, and now we just got to press it in. So we got this pipe here that fits over it just perfectly, and all we got to do is push it on, and it's just pretty easy. Get it onto the shaft. And just go down until it bottoms out, and you're done. Alright guys, we're going to pound in a race into the frame. I'm just going to do the upper one to show you guys here. So we got the race, everything's clean, and the upper race is different than the lower. Make sure it starts going in straight. And then you just pound it down. And that's it. It's in there pretty good. And that should hold the bearing just fine. Way better than the old one that was all rusted out. So next I'll show you guys putting the triple clamps on once we get this bottom race in, and yeah. Alright, so we got both races in, greased up, and the lower triple clamp is ready, so we're going to put it in. Now we got the upper bearing. Now we got the seal, now a washer, and the preload nut. So we'll get that spun on and tighten down a little bit to kind of get the preload, and then we can get the upper triple clamp on. So now that we got these triple clamps on, I'm going to throw on the ignition here, and on this bike it goes right here. There's a little tab like so, and that's pretty much it for the wiring harness. We obviously got the stuff coming from the motor, and we've got the throttle position sensor, and the coil that all go onto this. But for now, I think that's a good start. So let's throw these forks in. So for these forks here, we didn't really do much to them. We just cleaned them up a little bit. We didn't do the seals. The seals are still holding. So they're ready to go back in. All right, there's the first fork, and I got it lined up with the upper adjustment labels facing forward. And I do believe I have new bolts for these, so I'll get those out and get them torqued in a minute. Alright guys, here is the front wheel, which I built. I'll link the video to where I built it right up here if you guys want to check that out. Looks pretty cool. Blue rim, black spokes, and blue hub. So let me try and get it on here. Could be a little hard because this frame's kind of floating right now, but I'll give it a shot. Alright, now that we got the front tire on and axles in, the rest will have to wait a little bit because we'll have to get the rear wheel and linkage ready so we can, and the brakes, so we can take it off the stand and bounce it so we can get everything true down here and then snug it down. But it's starting to look like a bike again. We got forks and a wheel on it. So I think next I'll get this stuff tightened down a little more, and then I think it'll be time to throw the engine in. Alright guys, now that we got this front tire on, we are ready to get this motor in. So if you guys didn't catch the video where I built this thing, or the series of videos, I'll link the last one up here. So it looks super cool and it's ready to go in, so I'll throw it in right now. Alright guys, we got this motor in. Went in pretty smooth even though it's heavy. So now we gotta do a couple things. I'll probably get the swing arm on next just because it's a big piece, so we can get some good progress. And then I gotta finish mounting it up. As you can see, that bolt down there isn't finished. I gotta put the mount on up here and get the oil lines tied in. So that's next, but I think I'm gonna get the swing arm ready to go on right now. So here's the swing arm. As you can see, it's super polished up. That's why we got it wrapped in a cloth here. It's vapor blasted, and we got this TM Design Works chain slide. So we're gonna put this on. 2 bolts on the top and 1 on the bottom. So I'll finish getting these 3 bolts tightened down, and then we can throw this guy on. Alright guys, before I throw on that swing arm real quick, let me throw on this foot peg. I already got the other side on. Powder coat these matte black, same thing as I did in the CR build. So the spring goes on like this. It's nice that it has a little spot for it to kind of rest while you get everything lined up. So you got to get it in here. I'll put some grease on the pin. And once you get it in, you just gotta wiggle it a little bit and it pops in just like that, pretty simple. And then we just got a washer from the back and a clip that I need to find. Put that clip in, you expand it around both sides, and I usually point it to where both ends of the clip are pointing back, so if you get in contact with a bush or a rock or whatever, doesn't want to hook anything and rip anything off, or there's no chance of that falling off and you losing your foot peg. But anyway, I'll get that finished up real quick and then we can throw the swing arm back on. Alright guys, the shock is going on. Now the main linkage piece. Alright guys, now that we got the swing arm on, we're ready to get the motor mounts in. So I got the front motor mounts, powder coated them matte black, and the blue cerakoted bolt here. Bolt goes through this hole like so. And I also cerakoted the other bolts that hold it. And I'm gonna give them a little bit of Loctite. Cerakote should prevent them from rusting, and since it's such a thin finish, it'll allow me to at least thread them in. So I'll get the other side all set up, and then I'll get these all torqued off camera, and then we can continue on. All right guys, so for the oil line here, I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but it's down here. So the oil line enters right there, as you can see. I already got some grease on that area, and we got a dowel pin and an O-ring. So they go in like that, and the reason I'm greasing it is just to help that O-ring seal. So put a little bit of extra grease on it like that, and we cleaned up the oil line itself a little bit. So since the motor and everything's in here, we already tested this before, got everything torqued down, so we can wiggle this end of the oil line in. I'm trying to do this one-handed, and get around something like that, and with any luck, oil line will go on. Then we got a bolt and put some Loctite on this, and I'll get that in and torqued, and then we got another pipe that goes onto this guy right here, so I'll show you guys that. Alright, so for this other oil line, comes up a little bit higher here, and it ends up way up here, way up to this. So I didn't get it torqued down yet because I think I might need a little bit of wiggle to get all this stuff in. So the oil line is going to go down onto the first line that we put in. And we cleaned up these oil lines, and we're using new O-rings for all this stuff. Looks like I might need to get a little bit tighter, but same procedure with the O-ring and everything up top. So I'll get it, and then we can fill this thing up with oil and make sure that the oil system's working right. All right guys, we got the valve cover off, and I filled it up with approximately 1.5 quarts of oil. That's the recommended. So I'm kind of gonna see what happens here when I kick it over. Hopefully we'll start to see oil flowing out of some of this stuff. So we'll see. Spark plugs out so there's no compression. You can see everything turn. And if I don't see anything come out of this, I can always take off the top oil line and see if anything comes out of that. That's first. But I don't see why not. So there's nothing in there yet. So I'll keep kicking until it comes out, and then I'll show you what I'm looking for and all that stuff. All right guys, we have oil pressure up to the head. So as you can see right here, I'll see if I have a reference image, but you can see right down there in that pocket of fluid by the bucket, it is more clear than it used to be because it's a little red because of the assembly lube, but the rest is oil. So it's already gotten plenty of oil to where it needs to be. So that is good. I'll have to get the valve cover finished off, and I'll glue this gasket into it, and then we can throw that back on. But I'll get that off camera because you guys already seen it go on in the engine video. So I think we got a couple more things. I need to put this coolant pipe back in here. I had to take that out to torque the motor mount. And since this is going to be in here, we'll be able to put this upper motor mount on, get the carburetor on and stuff like that. But I think for this video, I'll get the valve cover on, need to get this tire on and put the bars on, and then we can take this thing outside and get some pictures of it. So I'll do that stuff now. All right, so the coolant pipe is going on right now. New O-ring, in case you didn't watch the engine video with the boys in super cooler. Get this bolt torqued down. All right, let's get this tire on. I might do the wiring in this video, but that's probably gonna be about it for this video. All right guys, to finish off this video here, I'm gonna throw on the chain guide and the wheel. So this is a TM Design Works chain guide. It's been on this bike for a little bit of time. As you can see, it's a little beat up here, scratched up, hit some rocks, and the chain's worn into it a little bit. But there's nothing wrong with it and no need to replace it. We don't have anywhere else for it to go, and it's just gonna get beat up anyway. So I might as well put it back on. So it goes right here. You gotta work it onto that tab. Slide the bolts in. And the sticker did blow off of this guy. Used to have a sticker right there. You can see the remnants of it. And that left us while we were pressure washing, I believe. So this chain guide matches up with the TM Design Works chain slide that we put on a little bit ago before we threw this swing arm on. Tighten up this guy. And to finish up the swing arm for the moment, we've got these plugs, just little rubber pieces, one for each side, and it goes in right here, like so. Keep any of the dirt and water out of it. This bike hasn't had these in a while because they fell out or whatever. So that's good. I'll go throw in the other side real quick and then we can throw this tire on. And for the tire here, if you guys didn't see the tire build video, built this one and the front. And just for the minute, won't put the spacers in just to get it outside, take a couple pictures of this guy. Then I'll throw the spacers in later. I'll probably throw them onto this side just to kind of keep everything tight. But it spins nice and smooth. So yeah, starting to come together. Color combination is getting pretty cool with this bike. As you can see here, this is as far as we've got so far. But anyway, that's probably going to be about it for this video. So, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Maybe learned something. And yeah, thanks for watching. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.